Hi, thanks for being here. You're listening to A Conversation with Jordan. That's me. I hope you enjoy the episode. Hey, welcome to another episode. At this point, you know the drill. This is me just picking up the mic with no plan. But I'm super excited to be back. And by back, I only missed 1 week, I think. It's possible, actually, I missed 2 weeks. That's actually maybe more likely. And I'm okay with it, because life has been life. You know, if you know anything about my More Than a Filmmaker brand that I built, the entire heart behind it is the fact that we are so much more than just our careers. We have lives, and life interrupts life all the time. You can make your plans, and then life interrupts those plans, and that's just the reality. And I think there's so much beauty in that. Well, I didn't plan on going here, but I was just talking the other day about the art of being interruptible. If you read scripture, and if you're a Christian, and if you're interested in Jesus, I don't know if you've noticed, but so many of Jesus's healings and miracles were from interruptions. Like, Jesus was interrupted on his way to do something else, and he was interrupted, and then stopped and performed a miracle, or did something along those lines, right? Or helped someone. And I think there's such a gift in being an interruptible person, allowing life to interrupt your plans, and moving through that with grace, and joy, and a positive attitude. I think it's a really important skill to learn, and it's something that I've thought about a lot in life, and it's hard to be interrupted. It's hard to have your mind being pulled so many different directions, and I'm sure if there's any moms listening to this, then they very much know what that looks like. I am not in that season of life. I am not a mother, but I imagine, or fathers too, honestly, just a parent. I imagine a parent very much knows what it means to be interrupted 1,000 times, 1,000 times a day, especially when your kids are young. So, yeah, I think there's just the thought of being interruptible, and the practice of being an interruptible person with that. If you can be someone who is interrupted and be graceful and joyful in those interruptions, and fully attentive to the person who's interrupting you, that's a gift that you can give someone. That's a really good quality to have. And I'm not saying of course some interruptions are unnecessary. Well, I feel like all interruptions, you know what I'm trying to say is there's at some point you need some boundaries, because if you're interrupted every single second of your day, then that's just not healthy for you. So whenever I talk about these things, I'm not talking in one extreme or the other. I'm just saying it's a fascinating quality that I don't think a lot of people really ever name, and is something that is really, I think, can help set you apart as a person who's really kind, and able to show up for people in a unique way by being interruptible, and allowing yourself to have more space for that in your mind, more patience. Okay, with all that being said, I hopped into that real quick. I didn't even plan on saying that. I don't really plan on saying anything, but I have a few thoughts before I sit down. Few very loose thoughts, and that just came to mind because I was talking about the fact that my work has been very interrupted in the past 2 weeks. I've had so much that I've wanted to get done. If you heard me talk, I think in my last episode, about this finance tracker that I'm building, oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so excited about it. But my desired timeline has been pushed and pushed and pushed on getting that out, because so many different other life interruptions have come in, and each day I feel the temptation to get frustrated about that, and I'm nah, that's gonna just steal any of the joy away from the fact that I actually do enjoy what I'm doing. And so I've just chosen to just take it as it is, and be well, I didn't necessarily make any promises to people. I wanted to get it out as soon as I got people excited about it, and some of that excitement may have died, but so be it. I can get people excited about it again, because people are excited about it, and they're asking me about it, and I'm doing the best I can. So talking about that though, this is just like a little side tangent update about my life and the finance tracker. Real quick, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I like created this yearly finance tracker for my business and my personal life, to just truly see what's happening and how my money is moving in like so many different categories and areas. And I made this like template that will auto-populate and break down your money in lots of different visual ways so that you can see what's happening and like how much you're spending in this category and how much your profit and loss is for the year for those who are like business owners. And you don't have to be a business owner to use this template. You can just use it for personal life too. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea of what I built. And I've over the past 2 weeks been writing instructions on how to customize the template. So like if somebody wants to customize it for them, their life, like specifically, I'm writing all the instructions to do that. And I don't know if you've ever tried to write instructions, but it is an adventure. You have to be so specific with instructions. It is insane. I've been testing my instructions on my parents, who, if they listen to this, they know this, they're not the most tech savvy, and so they're like my ideal candidate to test it on, because if I can succeed in them understanding my instructions and not getting lost and like frustrated, then I think that everyone will be able to understand my instructions. So I've like made all these visuals and like arrows and color coding the instructions and just like making them as detailed as I possibly can. And it's amazing how many things that you can miss, where you just have to even tell somebody, click outside here to close the pop-up window. Like those are like, it's just amazing what you have to do for instructions. So it's been taking me way longer than I anticipated. And the thing is, I'm going like even way above and beyond what I probably need to do for just a simple Notion template, but I really care about doing things to excellence. That's just always been in my pattern of thinking and living, and sometimes I may be a person that does work harder than smarter, and to be honest, I don't care. That's what I mean about like, or that's what I mean, I haven't said anything, but this is a thought that just came to my head, is there's so much advice out there on the internet, and there's going to be a ton of people and like business people that tell you to work smarter, not harder, and that's how you're going to succeed. And sure, like you may get going faster and quicker than I might, but something that I really like is that sometimes I do that. Sometimes I work smarter and not harder, but the times that I choose to work harder, it's probably because I'm really passionate about it, and at least I can walk away knowing that I put my heart into it. Like I put my full heart, my full effort into this. And even if the product itself like falls flat, yes, that would be disappointing, but at the same time, I think there's so much growth, and like I can still be proud of what I've made because of the effort that I put in itself is the success of the product, because I really cared about something. So anyway, that's a lot about a finance tracker, but that's a little side tangent update on my life and what I've been trying to work on and what I've been trying to put out there. So hopefully I'll get it out by next week. I just still need to test my instructions on like a few more people to really work out the details. And it's a really tedious process. So yeah, so there's that. Okay, on an entirely different note, nothing about work. I was in a conversation just a few weeks ago, and it reminded me of this fun story that I had in my past, and I just kind of want to share it. This is the only thought that I came into this podcast with. So if you want to know what I was talking about like having some loose thoughts, this is the one thought that I came into the podcast with of like, oh, I could talk about this. So let me bring that story to you. I think I was maybe a junior in college. I, for a summer, worked for about a month serving at a camp. And at that camp, I worked at a snack bar. And the snack bar was like an intense snack bar. We like served 30 different types of milkshakes. It was crazy, plus everything else that a snack bar can offer. And it was so much fun. It was me and just 2 other girls, and then sometimes just 1 other girl. And it was pretty intense, and we're serving high schoolers, and gotta love high schoolers. You might be a high schooler listening to this, but you know, high schoolers at camp, they're bringing in soaking wet money because they jumped in the lake with their money in their pockets, and then you're just dealing with the funniest things when you're working and serving high schoolers. But at the very end of one of the weeks when a high schooler was leaving, we kind of like, at that particular camp, we would like high five them goodbye. And this guy, one of the high schoolers, comes up to me and envelops me in one of the biggest hugs and says, "Thank you." Now, I told you the end of the story first by telling you that. But that blew me away. And the reason that blew me away is because I did recognize this guy coming into the snack bar quite a few times throughout the week, but I never really said a word to him other than taking his order. I do remember smiling at him though, because he seemed kind of shyer, and I just remember like popping him a smile every time he came in and just acknowledging that he like kept showing up to the snack bar. And I didn't think anything of it. That was just like a normal thing to do. I did notice the guy that he would come in quite a bit, and this isn't like do not read into this as like girl guy smiling at each other. Like, this is so far from any of that kind of stuff. I just don't want that to be misinterpreted. This is definitely clearly just like me being older and him being a high schooler, and very natural, just like that kind of thing. You could say I'm wrong on this, but I really don't think I am. I was there for the situation, and I think I can read some social stuff decently well. So, anyway, yeah, so this guy, he just seemed like a shyer kid that was just trying to figure out life, and was there, and maybe found some comfort in hanging around the older people at camp rather than his peers, potentially. I don't know anything about his story. But yeah, at the very end of camp, he just came up to me, hugged me, and said thank you. And I just was so amazed. What that showed me is how much action and the smallest of actions and the smallest of kindness can be so impactful in someone's life. And it really woke me up to the fact that I want to pay more attention to how I'm interacting with people, like in the most subtle ways, you know? And it made me also realize like how many people can I have, or somebody else, you know, like I'm talking for anyone. I'm trying to I'm going to ask you to invite yourself into the same question that I'm asking. I'm going to reference myself, but pretend I'm like asking this question for all of us. How many people do I impact in my everyday moments? And maybe in a really like deep way that I'd never recognize, and I never get to see like the actual fruit of that, or something. The actual other end of that. I got to on the guy who hugged me and said thank you, even though I don't know the depth of how that impacted him. I got to see a little bit of that impact. But who knows how many other people that kind of stuff happens to that you don't know impacts them. And the hope is that these are always positive impacts. You know, we all know that we have like just these weird random moments in our life that just stand out. Like sometimes they are negative. Like somebody says something about you that was like a passing comment, but it just hit a chord that like struck you deeper in an insecurity that you've carried throughout the rest of your life. Those moments are just the worst, but you know it happens. It has happened. So it's just something to be mindful of how many times can you change that to be rather a positive thing, you know, to focus more on saying a positive passing comment to someone rather than a negative one, because you never know how deeply it's hitting them and impacting them. And I don't say this to like freak you out and make you self-conscious about all the things you say, but just like an awareness to walk daily with a little bit more kindness and compassion and positivity and just a smile, you know? You never know how far a smile could go by smiling and acknowledging someone walking past you on a sidewalk. They could be on that sidewalk, just lost somebody, and they're just trying to navigate their own emotions, and just the fact that somebody else acknowledges them could be literally all that they need for that day. An acknowledgement with a smile, you know? So, yeah, just wanted to kind of share that because I was reminded of that particular experience in my life, and how cool that was, and how cool it was that I actually got to see the result of such a seemingly simple interaction in my life. Yeah, so that's something really awesome. You know, you want to know something funny about these podcasts? I have almost all of them have been 30 minutes long, and that just has shocked me because I don't have a timer on. That's just like some weird internal clock, apparently, that I have within myself to talk for exactly 30 minutes. I know that some people have mentioned though that they like shorter podcasts because then they can just like get one in and out. And so I've considered like, because I think in the past few of my podcasts, even though this is like I said, I'm not trying to make this podcast perfect and I'm just trying to put it out there more as a push against my own perfectionism. But in the last 2 podcasts I put out, I think I did have quite a few moments where I was kind of like trying to push and make some more thoughts happen. And I think people have really been enjoying it. Like something really cool. You know who you are if you're listening to this podcast because you were listening to my podcast. I was going to call out your name, but I don't know if you would want me to. So somebody who just joined my online community, I had a conversation with him and he was sharing how it was so helpful to listen to my podcast because it shows that somebody else kind of wrestles through the same thoughts that he has. And wow, like I thanked him right away. And I thank you if you're listening to this and you're hearing me repeat this because it just like really encouraged me to see that, again, that impact that my stumbling actually kind of makes somebody else feel validated and encouraged in the fact that like they can also push against their perfectionism and just be okay and also have thoughts like I do, and that you're not alone in having these types of thoughts and wrestling and having these types of struggles and problems in life. So anyway, it's just greatly encouraging to me to get that kind of feedback and realize like I can't even believe that this is making more of an impact than I expect. Like I guess I'm going to leave this particular episode at this, is that so many of us do not realize how, like, we always think lower of our experiences than I think they actually are. That sentence was kind of weak, but somehow I'm always shocked every time I hear someone say that something impacted them that I thought was kind of weak on my end. Like I put out a newsletter 2 weeks ago, and again I was really busy and I feel like I couldn't put my full heart into it. And I was like, man, I hope I don't disappoint people. That's literally the thoughts I was having. And then I have not been able to respond to your email yet. I'm so sorry, but I received an email saying this was the most perfect newsletter for me this week. I really needed to hear that. And I was just so amazed that like something that I previously thought was like kind of going to disappoint people made a big impact on someone and exactly what they needed. So I just want to encourage you to like really work on your mindset. I'm so big about mindset, but if you have any of those thoughts where you're like doubting that something is good, I can tell you there's probably so many people that are impacted and they're just not sharing it, because the few people who share it is probably not even the full sum of the amount of people that it impacted in a positive way. So here's my encouragement to you to put those things out there, do those things that you don't think are going to do anything, because you're probably thinking less about it than the impact it will actually have. So yeah, I guess that's my encouragement to you this week. And I kind of didn't finish my point about my podcast being short or long. The point of what I was trying to say is I'm going to try to make this one shorter. And I think I'm going to end it right here, and just leave this be for today. I have so many other things that I need to get done. I'm going to work more on that finance tracker. I'm going to make sure I get a newsletter out this week because I missed last week, and it's totally okay to miss last week, but I needed to miss a week, but I want to be consistent there. That's an area of like, that's an audience that I really want to be very consistent with because you guys have been so sweet to intentionally like come and join me in that. And so I want to show up for you as best I can there. So all that being said, I got some work to do. I'm going to go do that work. I hope some part of this podcast encouraged you today. As always, I hope you find something to be very grateful for today. Truly, every single day, there's something that can be positive in it if you just work on the mindset about it. See the bigger picture and see what a gift it is to even be breathing and living on this day. Even if, as I say that, it is so hard for you to believe that. I get it. Sometimes you're in a really deep, dark place. But like breath truly is a gift. And there are so many people who love you, regardless of how you don't think so. Like, I know it seems so fake. I know it seems so fake for somebody who does not see you to say that they love you, but like honestly, like every single human on this planet, even those who have done the most heinous things, they're just another human, just like me, who unfortunately has had a bad set of circumstances and beliefs that have got them to a really dark place. And that is more just heartbreaking than anything. It's not, yeah. So, with all that being said, what I'm trying to say is that I know I may not know you, but I care for you in the fact that you're another human to a human. We're on the same playing field in that way. So, um, yeah, I'm happy that you're here and breathing today. And that's a gift of getting to listen to this. Cool. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'll catch you on the next episode. And thanks for listening to my podcast. It means the world. And why don't I do the typical thing and say, like, if you listen through this, I have not been asking people to give reviews. If you would like to, I would love for you to review the podcast so maybe it can start getting out there. I don't really care for it to at this point, but like I think it can help some people sometimes. And so that's the only way that it really gets pushed is if you help push it by leaving reviews or sharing it with a friend. So if you really think a friend could use this, then share it with them. And hopefully it can bless their day. So yeah. Alrighty guys. Have a great day. I will see you next time. Bye guys.